This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
The Who's Down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
From LAist and APM, American Public Media, it's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. Today we're talking about simple changes you can make for free at home to feel a little happier with New York Times bestselling author Gretchen Rubin.
Outer order contributes to inner calm. Like, I remember talking to a friend, she said, I finally cleaned out my fridge and now I know I can switch careers. And I thought, I know how that feels.
We journey to Washington, D.C. as punk rock legend Henry Rollins guides us through the back alleys and basement shows that shaped his early years.
I never felt welcome or part of a family in any place where there's a roof over my head.
Our friends at Cheap Old Houses return with 2 stunning fixer-uppers, both under 30 grand. All of this plus we're answering your home improvement questions at 877-864-7460. Coming up next. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm Jen Largis. I think we all walk through the door of our home sometimes and start to lose sight of the clutter on the counter or the pile of laundry that's been on the chair all week. The truth is, those small changes can really have a big effect on how we feel at home. Luckily, there's a solution. Gretchen Rubin is an award-winning podcaster and New York Times bestselling author. In her book, Happier at Home, she explores how small daily habits can actually make us happier in our home. Gretchen, welcome to This Old House Radio Hour.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be talking to you.
I'm very happy that you're here today. So, Gretchen, you've explored happiness in your books and podcasts through your experience and research. Have you found a common thread that leads people to happiness and calmness in their home?
Well, if you had to pick one element of a happy life that, is the universal truth, a key and maybe the key to happiness is relationships. Humans are among the most social creatures on the planet. To be happy, we need strong, enduring bonds. We need to feel like we belong. We need to be able to confide. So anything that deepens relationships or broadens relationships is something that's likely to make us happier. And of course, this has many implications for our home because it's like hospitality, entertaining, memories, feeling sensory comfort in our home. It is very, very true for most people that it's hard to be happy if you're not happy at home.
So in a general way, how can our listeners create their own happier at home?
The thing that people most often tell me helps them is the 1-minute rule, which is if there's something you can do in less than a minute, do it without delay. Hang up your coat, put your mug in the dishwasher, put that stuff in the recycling bin, and it just gets rid of that clutter that accumulates on the surface of everyday life that just makes us feel weighed down. And what you might pick to work on for your home might be very different. I know from my listeners, reading is something that a lot of people really want to bring back into their lives, but it's hard. So one thing a lot of people do is they say, like, I realized that there was an area in my home that I could customize to make it perfect for reading. So it has just the right reading light. It's just the kind of chair I like to sit in when I read. And there's a place to put my coffee cup. And then just by creating a space that is inviting for that activity, we're more likely to do it. These are the kinds of things that a person could do to work on their happiness at home.
You emphasize the importance of a clean and organized home as a cornerstone of happy living environment. What do you believe is the connection between our surroundings and our sense of well-being?
For most of us, outer order contributes to inner calm, really more than it should. Like, I remember talking to a friend and she said, I finally cleaned out my fridge and now I know I can switch careers. And I thought, I know how that feels. But I will say, my sister is one of this small but very recognizable group of people who is clutter blind. They really do not see it. And so I think sometimes this can explain conflicts within families or like in work groups. It just doesn't register in the same way.
And then they get married.
But it can make it seem less personal when you know this is just how they do.
So do you have any tips for listeners to get into good organization habits?
Okay. So in my book, Better Than Before, I described the 21 strategies people can use to make or break their habits. And here's the big one for home: convenience. People are more likely to do something if it is even slightly more convenient to a bonkers degree. There's hilarious research showing that if a restaurant offers food, like buffet style food, with tongs instead of spoons, people take less food. Because just a little bit more effort that you have to use a tong to pick up like your roasted broccoli or whatever, people take less.
Wow.
So you really want to use this in your home. One of the things that I did was I noticed nobody was hanging up their coats. So I did two things. I got rid of a bunch of coats so that there was plenty of room. But then I realized that's still too much trouble. And then I thought hooks. So I put a bunch of hooks inside the doors. And so if it's a coat that is like slightly out of season or something, put it on a hanger. But the active coats that are going in and out at that season, put them on the hooks. And that made a huge difference. So you really want to think about making things as convenient as possible.
I also think there's a lot of spaces in our home that become catch-all that are not spaces that we actually use actively.
Yeah.
And those are always my first target.
Yeah, the dump zones. Everybody's got them. But the problem with dump zones is the more they get bigger, that just becomes the default place that everything goes. Whereas if you don't have any dump zones, things that are out of place are much more obvious. And they call to you to be put in a place. It's easier and more fun to put things away when everything has a specific place. Don't you find?
I think that's why my pantry is such a wonderful space for me, is I've labeled where things go, and it feels so satisfying to put things back exactly where they belong.
Well, my parents were staying in our apartment when my husband and I were on vacation, and they were like, okay, we need AA batteries. And I was so filled with pride when I was like, okay, go to the pantry, and on the second shelf from the bottom, look in the far left, there's a basket there. That's where the AA batteries are. And they were like,
yes.
Okay.
So we like to end each episode with something called the Simple Fix, where an expert gives us one quick tip to help our listeners with their next project. Do you have a simple fix?
Whatever you want yourself or others to do, make it as convenient as possible. Where is the clothes hamper if people are not putting things in the clothes hamper? Like, how do things go from the bottom of the stairs to the top of the stairs if people are leaving everything dumped at the bottom? Seek convenience.
Gretchen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. It's one of my favorite subjects, home.
That was Gretchen Rubin. Listen to her podcast, Happier, wherever you get your podcasts. Right now, we're answering your questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hey, Jen, my name is Cynthia Backlund, and I'm calling from Superior, Wisconsin this morning.
Cynthia, thanks for calling in. What's your question?
You know what? We just bought this great Craftsman home built in 1914, and we're both super handy, but we're really struggling. We can't get those staples out of the hardwood, no matter how hard we've tried. We've used like a needle nose. We've used vice grips. We even went and we saw this really funny video on Amazon, and the guy was trying to show everybody how you can get the staples out of the hardware. Well, we bought the tool. It doesn't work. So anyway, now we're calling you, and we need your help.
I love it. Well, we've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here to help. And Zach, tell us you have a magic solution here.
So there's a type of pliers called a puller, and
A puller?
it's basically not everyone's going to call it a puller, but
I was going to say, is this a technical term?
but if it's a type of, maybe Jen, you can explain this better, but imagine you had a set of normal pliers, but if you stood it up on end, so the handles were standing in the air, it could sort of balance, and it's round. So it's a flat tool that's pointing down. Now, that is a great tool. The company I purchased this for, it's not called a puller, but it's called a 357. A 7-inch 357.
A 357
is the one I have.
Okay.
But that's going to work if the staple is proud. So these are sticking up. But if you have flush ones, you need...
We have both.
Okay, so if you have flush ones, you need the CS staple lifter number 120.
CS stapler number 120?
No,
my God.
It's a staple lifter number 120. This is a tool that's been made for 100 years or more, and it looks like a bent screwdriver with, like, imagine like a forked tongue a snake would have, but it's like this low profile steel, like it's like a chisel, but it comes to a point.
To get up underneath the staples.
Huh, okay.
It's forked. It's one of those tools that, you feel like you would go to like a yard sale, and you'd be rummaging through an old tools, and you would say, what is this for? It's that kind of tool. But the point is, it's sharp and it's pointy. Okay. Because what you're struggling with is sort of like a tool that's like a flathead screwdriver is so blunt, it's not going to get under the way you would want it to. And a chisel doesn't come to a point in both directions. It's only pointed on the one end, so it's not going to like get under the staple unless you have it lined up just right. So if you've got a lot, I think you want that staple lifter number 120, and that's your friend.
And some really good knee pads.
Yeah. And some
ibuprofen.
Are these local big box tools, or do I need to go searching?
The first one I mentioned, the puller,
yes,
or the 357,
but
is
357.
The staple lifter is you're either gonna have to go to a million yard sales, or you're gonna have to find
call every grandfather you know.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's out there, and I think it's worth the investment. It's one of those things that it's such a not enjoyable task sometimes.
Right, I know it.
It can break your heart to spend $30 or $40 on a tool has only one purpose, but when it makes a not fun task a pleasure, you create this bond with the tool, and it's a beautiful thing. So I think the staple lifter will be a game changer.
Okay, one more quick question, real quick, is that we have had some success getting some of those old staples, nails, either or, out of the floor. However, when we try to pull it up, the head snaps off. So then we're just more prone to say, you know what, forget that. We're just going to pound it into the floor.
Sure. And what's your intention, to refinish this?
Yes, our whole house needs to have the floors refinished.
Is that going to ruin whatever sanding tools you need to use? It's okay.
It won't. Typically, you start with like a 40 grit on a drum sander, and it will.
Yes.
You could honestly leave some of the staples like sitting there, and it'll just chew right through them. And then when the job is done, you'll have this tiny little shine of metal, which on an old floor, to me, is just a patina of the history that this house has weathered with. It's a beautiful thing.
It's eclectic character.
Exactly. I love it.
How about that?
So
yeah,
I wouldn't go if you're having someone professionally sand these floors for you. I wouldn't go too nuts with it. Obviously, you want to get as many as you can, but those, if they break off, not a big deal. Let them stay in there.
Right. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
After the break, our experts are going to answer more of your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. Stay tuned. This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
The Who's down in Who Newville were making their list, but some didn't know Walmart has the best brands for their gifts.
What about toys? Do they have brands kids have been wanting all year?
Yep, Barbie, Tony's, and Lego. Gifts that will make them all cheer.
Do you mean they have all the brands I adore?
They have Nintendo, Nespresso, Apple, and more.
What about...
So the Who answered questions from friends till they were blue. Each one listened and shouted, from Walmart? Who knew? Shop gifts from top brands for everyone on your list in the Walmart app.
When you give gifts, you like to knock them out of the park. Airwick Essential Mist Diffuser's chic design, long-lasting scents, and effortless setup makes it the kind of gift that feels complete the moment it's unwrapped. Perfect for your favorite dinner party host or that friend who loves a cozy night in. Plus, its cordless design means you can easily take this gentle fragrance with you from room to room. Airwick Essential Mist. Ready to gift, ready to uplift.
Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm Jen Largis. Right now we're tackling your DIY and home improvement questions. Call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460, and we'll match you with the right expert. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Yeah, this is Tim Cook from Mount Vernon, Ohio.
Hey, Tim, what's your question today?
Well, I was calling in about monitoring my power usage in the house. I had an issue where I live out in the country and I've got a well pump, and the check valve down in the well went bad and the water started draining out, and that caused the pump to continuously run like every 4 or 5 minutes. And it just got me thinking about, I had no way of knowing that thing has failed. And so it's just been running, and I don't know how long it's been running and how much power usage it was using. So is there a way that you can monitor that, like a trend over time?
Yeah, we've got Heath Eastman, an electrician for the show, and Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, both on the line to help. Heath, what do you think?
Hi, Tim. Good to talk to you. How are you?
Okay. How are you doing, Heath?
Good, thanks. So you had a well, and it sounds like it leaked above that valve from what you're saying, just kept dumping back in, and it just got into a cycle of running constantly, huh?
Yeah, the check, my water is really acidic, and so the check valve above the pump eroded a hole through the piping.
Wow.
And so the well pump would kick on, get everything up to pressure, and then it would slowly bleed out of that hole. And then once it bled down, then the well pump would kick on again. And I just happened to be down there checking our water softener when I heard the pump kick on, because otherwise you really can't hear it. And so it just was running continuously, and I don't know if it was doing it for weeks or months. And so it just got me to thinking, is there some way that I can monitor the electrical usage in my house, whether it be the refrigerator, the furnace, the well pump?
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Actually, there are several options for doing that. You can monitor multiple circuits in the panel. You can monitor the whole panel. You can monitor a single circuit. So there are several companies that make devices that can clip onto that circuit and actually tell you exactly how much power is being utilized at any given point. So the only issue with it is you have to pay attention. You've got to realize what your baseline is and go back and look at the history of it and know that this typically uses X over a month. And then if you see your bill jump up, you can go back and look at it and go, what happened? Why is my bill up? Why did this change? Or if you happen to look at it and see that it's using double what it usually does. Say it uses, 5 amps, or however many kilowatts you want to monitor it with over the course of a day, and now all of a sudden it's using 10, 15, or 20. You know you have something going on.
What do you mean by it clips onto the circuit?
Yeah, so there are, the easiest way are some of these devices you can add. I don't know if you've seen any of these things, Tim. It's has what's called a little CT, a current transformer, and it's simply a clip that goes over the wire inside the panel. It goes to a control module, and then you just connect it to your Wi-Fi. So you put an app on your phone or your iPad or something else, and you can actually pull it up and see real time what's being utilized, and you can scale it as you'd like, whether it's a couple of circuits, all the circuits, more or less the whole panel. It's great information to have.
Is that a clip-on each circuit, or is it on the entire main?
It could do either way. You can do the main in conjunction with circuits, or just a few circuits, or just the main. So it's entirely up to you. I given the choice, they make kits that do the main with a handful of circuits. I kind of think it's the best way to go, so you can kind of find out what your biggest culprits for power use are.
Zach, have you ever used one of these before?
I've never used the unit he's talking about. I've used some panels that actually have the ability to monitor them, but that sounds like probably something that's better geared towards a new construction or a large renovation when you're already doing that work. But something like this that retrofits right on seems like the perfect solution, and you can kind of just go after the circuits you're most concerned about, because obviously if your refrigerator's running all the time or something that's more, in your line of sight, perhaps it's not necessary to monitor that.
Is there a whole circuit panel replacement, or I know I've seen on your show before, you talked about adding surge protection and other things into that panel all at the same time?
Yep, there are panels you can replace that with, but it gets a little more costly. If you're looking for a quick and inexpensive solution, these kits are pretty reasonable. I think they're roughly a few $100, give or take, that you can add and monitor the circuits you choose. If you're doing a panel upgrade, it's not a bad idea to put one of those panels in, but they do get a little expensive, but they have a lot more flexibility to them.
They would have the monitoring built in?
They would have the equipment to monitor built in, yes. Yeah, but they also have a lot more features adding that cost.
For my situation, I actually have a whole house generator. So I have two panels. One's a smaller one, which is really all of the devices that I want the generator to run.
Sure. Yep.
So, which would be where the well pump is, the furnace, the freezer, the main things that I'm concerned about anyway. And it's a smaller panel.
Yep, and you could add a separate module in that panel as well. You're allowed to, from the manufacturer, install several of those.
The clip-on one, is that a DIY or is it an electrician?
I'm always going to recommend when you're opening up an electrical panel to call an electrician, because you do have to tie it into a new circuit in the panel. You do have to work on the panel. So when you're working on the main electrical panel, I would suggest calling an electrician, but I don't think it's that big of a project. I think it's pretty simple for you, and I think it'll give you just what you want.
Okay. Yeah, I've moved circuit breakers and that around, so I'm not opposed to being in there.
No, I think you're good. Okay. Thanks for the call, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Right now, we're answering your questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi there. My name is Phyllis Bretholf. I'm calling from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I am so excited to be talking to you.
Oh, Phyllis, we're excited to have you. What's your question today?
So I have a 3-family house. I live on the top floor. The house was built around 1916, and the ceiling in the basement is falling in.
Oh, no.
The basement is used every day by the families on the first and second floor because there's a washer and a dryer there. So I want to know, however this gets done, how to protect the personal belongings that are already in the basement. Some of the panels have already disappeared. There is a huge jumble of wires that are just sort of hanging out there in a way. So I have a whole bunch of questions about how to get my ceiling re-plastered or re-paneled.
Absolutely. Well, to help us answer this question, we have Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here to help.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. No. All right, so let's start with the your bandwidth. So if you hire a general contractor, someone like me, basically we have some skills, but we also manage the project and bring in professionals and sequence the job appropriately. And we handle sort of the logistics of protecting belongings, giving the homeowners a sense of schedule and that type of thing. So if you feel like you're the type of person who can find an electrician to handle the electrical issue, find a drywall person to handle that, find someone else to maybe deal with moving the items in the basement that are in the way, and then finally find someone who does cleaning to clean it up at the end of the job, then you're going to probably save a little bit of money not involving that general contractor. But, you'll probably have some frustration and duty to manage that project yourself. So I think that's the first question is, do you want to contract individually? Because the person who fixes your ceiling is a different person than who will address this wiring issue. So I think that's sort of a question to ask yourself. Would I rather exchange money for misery? Like right?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. I'm very healthy, but I'm 87, so I definitely want to trade the misery for for something else.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about too, when you have tenants involved, is if things go off the rails a bit, you are beholden to sort of get things turned around relatively quickly and professionally, because they're paying you rent and they have a certain expectation of how things are going to be done in that situation. So my recommendation would be probably to find a general contractor and say, hey, I have some safety concerns with my basement. I would like to meet with you, show you what they are, get a quote from you. And aside from price, you're looking for someone who you feel like you trust, and someone who you feel like if they tell you it's 3 weeks, it's 3 weeks. And if someone tells you it's 2 days, it's 2 days. And be clear with them about your expectations. Is all the trash going to be removed? Can you move my belongings out of the way and protect them from getting damaged if that's necessary to make the repair? Because at a minimum, you're going to have dust down there, right? And dirt on the floor that has to get cleaned up. But I think a general contractor is the right person to call. And if you can't get one immediately, then definitely at least get an electrician out there to address the wiring, because that could be a safety concern. And we definitely don't want anything risky like that. A hole in the ceiling, probably not going to hurt you in the short term, but the wires definitely could.
Wow. Well, these are actually some very helpful observations that I hadn't really been thinking about. So it's very helpful. I wasn't really thinking about safety concerns, and I hadn't gotten yet to the place where I was thinking about the trash being moved. And so this is very helpful. In general, should I get more than one quote?
So I think it depends on how you're getting these people's numbers. So if you receive the number from someone you trust and they sort of vouch for this person being someone that's reputable, and you receive a price and it's something you can afford and is that's valuable to you, I wouldn't get another number. If you receive one quote from a stranger you found in the yellow pages and you have no frame of reference for whether this is reasonable or not, then maybe get one more and then pick the person who you felt like was the most trustworthy.
Zach, what are the yellow pages?
They're
well,
Phyllis knows about the yellow pages.
I rely heavily on recommendations from friends and neighbors, so that piece is easy. Do you have a suggestion for a material? What should the ceiling be covered with? Is there more than one sort of logical material?
So typically, it's going to be similar to what you have there.
Okay.
People are going to repair it with drywall because it's inexpensive and it's in a basement, so it doesn't necessarily have to be beautiful. In general, every house is different, so every material recommendation is going to be based off of that type of house.
I don't know if this is even appropriate. Do you do this kind of work? I mean, are you available?
I would be available, except I'm in New Jersey. Otherwise, I'd be there. I'd be on my way right now, Phyllis.
Okay, thank you. No, this is fabulous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
I love a good Phyllis. Call us now at 877-864-7460. 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Ann Pease. I'm in Kittery Point, Maine. How are you today?
Good. Ann, thanks for calling. What's your question today?
I have a chimney that vents from the boiler in my basement, and it comes up through the first floor of the house. A couple of years ago, the lining broke inside the chimney, and it got very, very wet, and it started to sort of ooze a white liquid down the side of the brick. So where I'd like the brick to be a visual element in the first floor of my house, it's now a little bit unsightly. And I've tried cleaning it with various basic household products and water, but nothing's taking the white oozing stuff off the brick. I didn't know if you guys had any better ideas than that.
Well, to help us answer this question, we have Zach Detmore, a general contractor for This Old House, and Mark McCullough, our mason here from the show to help. And I suspect, Mark, you might have some ideas for her.
I do. How you doing, Ann?
Good, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So, Ann, this white substance, did that occur before the replacement or after?
Wow, I'm stumped. I'm not even sure.
Okay.
I just noticed that when the liner broke, the chimney bricks were super wet.
Yep.
And then I noticed, I'm pretty sure it happened before the liner was replaced.
Okay. So when the liner breached, it produced condensation, which for this purpose is water. Water activates the material that's within the brick, specifically the clay. And it also activates the lime that's in the mortar, and it produces this white substance that we call efflorescence. The longer it stays, the harder it is to remove. Water and household products at one point don't become powerful enough to actually clean it. But there is hope. If you go to your local large hardware store, you'll find all different types of masonry cleaners, and there's one specifically made for efflorescence. It's a bit acidic, so you do have to be careful, but the content is less than 5% acidic. So just enough and just powerful enough to really take that stuff off. Time is of the essence, because at one point that efflorescence will calcify, and it just becomes that much harder to remove. But if you get it in a timely fashion, and I have a feeling you're in that time zone, you'll be able to get it off. You'll need a scrub brush, and again, specific directions on the back of the can. They're going to suggest you have a dwell time. So again, just be sure that you do read the back of the can for the specific directions. But it is something that you should be able to get off. And I always tell people, when you're working inside, open the windows. Again, there will be a smell to it, nothing too powerful, but there will be something. And protect everything. So you don't, obviously, if you're in your living room, you don't want water all over the floor, and you don't want this particular material all over the floor. So just do some diligence and cover up with plastic. To be honest with you, I always have a shop vac handy. Just because if things get too wet, too saturated, I'm right there with a shop vac to scoop it up. But I think your main issue is going to be the fact that you will have to do that prep work.
Okay, and you called it a what kind of product?
It's a masonry cleaner.
Okay.
But it's specific to what we call efflorescence.
Okay.
So the title on the can is going to tell you masonry cleaner, but right under it, you'll see the word efflorescence. And next to that, you'll see masonry cleaner, but under that'll be rust remover. So again, you'll see specific problems being addressed by basically this one company that puts this product out.
Okay. Well, that's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good luck, Ann. Remember, time is of the efflorescence.
Yes. Hey, Zach, I don't want, no, I'll
show myself out.
Well, I don't want to say anything, but that was at the tip of my tongue. And I was going to exit with that.
Oh, but, no way.
Oh, dear.
I was worried we were going to exit the call and not get it in, so I had to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you're funnier anyway, so.
That's funny.
So no problem.
Well, thanks again.
Okay,
Take care.
Sounds great. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Coming up, Cheap Old Houses returns with 2 homes you can purchase for under $30,000. That's coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm Jen Largis. Coming up, Cheap Old Houses returns with 2 homes you can purchase for under $30,000. But first, we go to Washington, D.C. through the basements and alleyways that gave punk rock musician, actor, author, and DJ Henry Rollins a sense of home and purpose.
Hello, my name is Henry Rollins. I'm a crass opportunist and workaholic, and this is my old house. I never really thought of any home I lived in with either parent as what constitutes home. So I had an idea of independence and autonomy pretty early on. I would spend 5 days a week with my mother, 2 days a week with my father, and both places were high tension, high stress environments. I was basically treated like a roommate. I lived in a very small apartment. From the outside, they probably all are cookie cutter. They probably all look the same inside. There was 2 apartments per little slice. Halfway up the stairway was our door, and you go up the top of the stairs, and that's the other one. Small living room, kitchen area, small bedroom on the right, bathroom at the end of the hall. The back was another bedroom, that was mine, that overlooked the alley. There was a lot of feral cats walking around, which I found interesting. It's very small, and the floors are very thin. My mother would get complaints from the people who lived underneath us. The husband was a Channel 7 news anchor. I remember him. And they said, could you have Henry not walk around so much? You could just hear footsteps. And I would try to be quiet. I did have a record player, a small General Electric, like a small suitcase. So it's easy to move from apartment to apartment. I was a strange little kid. And so I would listen to records in my bedroom. I had this very eclectic collection of records, like the Hair soundtrack, Wagner, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul, the Shaft soundtrack, the first Doors album. I had a cassette of Abbey Road I was given as a birthday present, and I was given one of those one-speaker tape recorders. And I played that tape probably until it broke. But I never felt welcome or part of a family in any place where there's a roof over my head with either parent. None of it felt like home. None of it was without stress. And so I coped by everything from having a paper route to playing in the park, and then eventually by having some friends in my neighborhood. And then when I was 13, I met my friend Ian MacKaye, and we're still best friends to this day. He built Discord Records and Minor Threat, that was his band. And then a band called Fugazi. He has become a real figure globally in independent music. A lot of bands formed because they saw Ian and his bandmates. And I met him and his friend John. Once I had these two allies, we were like three guys out of a Dickens book. We're just on the streets, in the alleys, on our bikes, on our skateboards. And I just started hanging out with him every single day. I spent far more time with Ian and his family in Ian's mom's living room than at my own. It's just one of those row houses in DC where every single house is attached. It's like an accordion. You grow up hearing your neighbors on either side, the piano lesson, the saxophone lesson, the argument, the breakup. Ian's parents' house are just big family, small house, one bathroom. Ian had the attic. You'd go up to the second floor and then go up these narrow stairs. He just put his bed up there and a record player. It was basically the roof. The ceiling was at an angle, and there was a window that looked out onto the front street and a window that looked over the backyard. It was really small. There's really nothing you can put up there but a bed, a table, a record player, and some records. There's a radiator up there. It was somewhat civilized. It was the heat in the summer that would get to you. Ian had things tacked up to the slanted ceiling. He would grab set lists from bands and flyers from shows we'd go to. His attic walls were all punk rock flyers and pictures from the Washington Post. He put everything up with thumbtacks. So all his early flyers have these 4 thumbtack holes in them. We would sit up there and listen to records and just talk. At one point, he was sitting on his bed and I was sitting on a chair opposite the bed with a record player between us. We both came to the conclusion that we were going to go out into the world and either make it by comedy or music, and the world is going to know who we are. Without any idea of how to make that come to fruition, ironically, years later, all of that kind of sort of came true. When I graduated from high school, I couch surfed here and there. I crashed a few nights at Ian's parents' place. They were very kind to me. Both of them were hyper intellectual. Ian's mom wrote letters every day, like tremendous correspondence. I have all the letters she wrote me. I have all of them. Ian's father worked at the Washington Post for many years as a journalist. And when punk rock hit, they got it. Ian's mom's living room was packed with kids who ended up being in all those early Discord bands. And I have photos of it. The place is just like beautiful young kids smashed in there. And she's just like, better put on more food. Both parents never said, get your friends out of here. We were friends until they passed away. Their passings were like getting hit by a bus. A lot of young people who are now old DC punk rock types can tell you exactly where they sat, when they sat, what they talked about in that living room. So many people I grew up with from the music scene spent time in that house. As soon as I joined Black Flag, I'm living in a van with other men that smelled bad. Home is like 2 cassettes, a Walkman, a book, what you can carry on your back. Living in close proximity with other people, your space becomes conceptual. Whenever I'm at an airport with my backpack and the tunes and the notebook, I'm in the right place doing the right thing. I'm used to hotel rooms, tour buses. I don't come home and go, home sweet home. I go, yeah, I got work to do.
That was Henry Rollins. You can stream his radio show at kcrw.com. Right now, we're joined by Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein, publishers of Cheap Old Houses, the popular social media account that draws millions of fans eager to find homes across America listed for as little as $10. Together, we'll explore whether these hidden gems become a labor of love or a money pit. Ethan and Elizabeth, thanks for joining us on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
Can't wait to talk to you about all these houses under $40,000.
I know, I feel shocked. So also joining us to understand the scope of a possible renovation is This Old House general contractor, Zach Detmore.
Hey, Jen.
So our first listing today is a 500 square foot, 2-bedroom historic schoolhouse. It sits on a 1/4-acre lot in Vermont, close to the Green Mountain National Forest, Long Trail, White River fishing, and with great skiing nearby. This 500 square foot schoolhouse is located at 199 Pine Gap Road in Rochester, Vermont, with an asking price of $30,000. Ethan and Elizabeth, there is one thing that is not in this listing.
You're right. But there's so much that is.
Okay, what are we missing?
Well, you can tell them, Ethan.
Well, we're missing a toilet and a septic system.
Could you guys live without plumbing?
If I could have a schoolhouse in the Vermont woods, maybe.
This is one of those
Fair.
houses that I'm like, why did you even send this to them? I don't want anyone to know about this house. This is a $30,000 schoolhouse in the middle of the woods next to skiing. I'm like, this is one that sometimes I go, what are you thinking? We need to keep this for ourselves.
It is so charming.
He's not lying. You know, there was a part of me that was like, that is exactly why I sent it over, because we do not need to buy this house. It's like a piece of candy, right? It's very alluring in so many ways.
But Ethan, I saw that it is listed on is it a 1/4 acre? Does that seem small when you're in a really rural location like this?
It's small for the perspective of like, if you want to live in a rural setting, I think it's small for a rural setting. I think the Green Mountains are your backyard here, really. I think if you think about the skiing and the water opportunities, and it's going to be rural to get to. So you're going to need your 4-wheel drive car because it looks like it's down some dirt roads.
Elizabeth, we've covered a few schoolhouses, but never one of this size. Tell us about the exterior of this schoolhouse.
Well, the exterior looks every bit like a little schoolhouse. There used to be so many of these. Every child had to walk to a schoolhouse. So there were many schoolhouses dotted all over the place within walking distance to almost every home. So it's really, really, really special that this one exists and still looks like it does. I love the outside says Bingo Camp, aka Chateau de Bingo. It's on what is locally called the Bingo Basin, which I think is where it gets that from. But from the outside, it's very simple, as many old schoolhouses were. It looks like it's maybe one story with a little bit of an attic space, perhaps. And it's just one room, 500 square feet. So it doesn't have that many windows to fix or that many things to do inside. It's just small. And I think there's freedom in that.
I think one of the really charming aspects of this old red schoolhouse is that it's down a dirt road, and it looks like you have to go over a river to get there down, and it just looks really remote and really desolate, and everything that anyone wants on a weekend is to, go to school.
It's quite literally over the river and through the woods.
And it looks like for heat, there is 2 wood stoves and a gas stove. It's a lot for this little space.
It must be cold.
I can imagine.
Yes. If there's 2 stoves, you can imagine that it must be a little bit chilly, but it looks like there's a lot of forest around and you can get a lot of wood delivered. You don't want your pipes to freeze. That's the biggest issue, because if you're not burning wood, then you're not able to kind of keep water there. So you probably need to drain your water when you leave.
So Zach, what do you think about this schoolhouse?
Yeah, Jen, this is a pretty attractive little parcel here. I love how old the house is. I love how simple the house is. What I'm a little concerned about is just utilities, obviously. A lot of modern people, you can call them divas, but they love bathrooms and they love plumbing. But it's not uncommon for our clients to spend upwards of $30,000 on a bathroom renovation. So spending $30,000 on a whole parcel with a historic building on it is a steal. So you could potentially steal a section of floor to shove a bathroom in, especially if you're not trying to fit a shower into the bathroom and you squeeze a bathroom in the attic. You could squeeze it in the footprint. You really want to, because putting an addition on is just very, very expensive, especially on a property of this price point. So I think it makes sense to try and stay within the existing footprint if you can. If you're not ready to do the big full commitment right away, get yourself a composting toilet and shower in the brook.
Sounds like the perfect weekend.
Totally. We have a porta potty at our farmhouse that we've been working on for about 4 years. So it's about $120 a month. That might be worth it.
You know, it's so funny how people think our lives are so glamorous when we do this old house restoration thing and we're on shows and whatnot. But really, we just spend all of our time talking about things like toilets. So much time talking about
very
toilets.
Glamorous. What are you talking about? So moving on to our second listing today, we've got a 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom, single-family colonial-style home priced at $13 per square foot. This listing only has 9 available pictures, but it's being offered at a significant 44% discount compared to its previous sale price. So in these 9 pictures, it looks like you can see there's original wood trim and things look to be in pretty great shape. This 4-bedroom, 1-bathroom home is for sale by owner, and it's located at 1312 East 82nd Street in Cleveland, Ohio, with an asking price of $25,000. Hard to believe. Ethan and Elizabeth, when you see a listing with just this many pictures, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on this one is that it's likely a rental, and oftentimes in the private rented spaces, the photographer doesn't get in there to take the pictures. And in this house, considering it probably was a rental, are actually very beautiful. There's a colonnade, there's a beautiful built-in in the dining room. A lot of those details are intact. And a lot of rentals don't really survive that usually.
Mm-hmm.
For sale by owner houses are only 7% of the real estate market. So it's very small because I think typically when you use an agent, you are also then spending more money on the agent's services. The homeowner probably took these pictures. They didn't take very many. They didn't think they needed to put that many on. And that's something that an agent typically would focus on. But I think you can find really good deals on the for sale by owner market if you know what you're looking for. And this house looks to be in amazing condition, livable condition for $25,000.
Zach, what sticks out to you about this listing?
Yeah, Jen, this is a sweet house. If you look at the outside, most of the details are still there, so you can see what's happening. The lines of the house are straight. So my hunch is there's no major catastrophic issues. When I refer to clean lines, what I'm really looking at is when I look from the street, I'm following sort of the edge of the roof along the front porch. And if it looks relatively straight, suss up the house. If you sort of had a grid and the house is following those lines, it speaks to the quality of the build. It speaks to its current condition. And then we go inside and bammo, all the trim has not been painted. I love, love, love to see this. In general, there's nothing that really scares me, especially at this price point.
Yeah, I think when you're starting at, is it $25,000? Even major issues that come up at that point are doable in most cases because you got in so low.
What really strikes me about this house is how very sad the exterior looks. And you go inside and you see this very beautiful, ornate woodwork, and you think about the thought and detail that went into that. And you just know at one point this exterior was colorful and beautiful and really shining. And I would love to see someone be able to bring that back because it's all still there. It's just gotten this sort of beige grayish treatment. And I think it can be really helped.
And paint's cheap. So, all things considered.
Bring it back to its glory. Absolutely. Well, Ethan and Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
And you can follow Cheap Old Houses on Instagram or subscribe to their newsletter by going to cheapoldhouses.com. We're nearly at the end of the show, which means it's time for my favorite tool.
Hey Jen, it's Zach Detmore, contractor for the show, and my favorite tool is a spring nail set. So I'm going to set this up for you. You're putting molding in your house and you've got some nails that your nail gun didn't set all the way. So that nail is sitting a little proud of the wood. The spring nail set, basically, it's 2 nail sets that are held together by a spring, and each one's made of metal. So when you pull back the back nail set while you're holding the front nail set against the nail head and you let go of it, that back one springs forward and hits the other one with enough force to drive the head of the nail in. The beautiful thing is a lot of these on the backside actually have a thinner piece that you can pop hinges of a door with. So you've got a small tool that sets nails, that removes hinges. It fits in your pocket. Fantastic tool.
We'll see you next week on This Old House Radio Hour. Our show is distributed by and co-produced by LAist Studios and APM, American Public Media. This Old House Radio Hour was created and produced by Ember 20. Listen to new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday on your app of choice. You can follow This Old House on all the socials at This Old House, all one word. We'll see you next week.
'Tis the season of gifting and halls to deck, and the Who's and Who Newville were in love with new tech. Where can we find Sonos and Samsung and Nintendo, they shouted. Would they find it in one place? This they questioned and doubted. When suddenly a Who yelled, Walmart's the place to start! And each Who added headphones, TVs, and games to their carts. With Walmart, their shopping was done in a flurry. They cried out, Who knew? And ordered their gifts in a hurry. Shop the latest tech gifts in the Walmart app.